So here we are with the Fantastic Four, a rather infamous film that no one truly likes. Well, an infamous series of films. Truly speaking, all these movies suck. The Fantastic Four seems to be the Marvel property that no one can seem to get right. No matter how many times it's given a movie, a sequel, or a reboot, no one can seem to make a good film out of this franchise. And honestly speaking, even the comics themselves weren't that popular at a point, so I can't really blame them, but yeah, we're getting into the crap now, so I guess there's no way of avoiding it. So let's go over the plot, shall we? Richard Reeves runs to run a test in space alongside his best friend Ben Grimm. So they go to meet Victor Von Doom for a business loan. Discovering his old girlfriend Sue Storm is currently dating Doom, and the four, alongside Sue's younger brother Johnny Storm, who's acting as the pilot for their spacecraft, end up end up hit with super space radiation, I guess, superpowers. So now these amazing abilities, Reed has to get cured in order to save themselves, while Doom, who seems to be unaffected at first, as we discover with the rest of the movie, he is affected, starts going mad and swears revenge on Reed after he believes that Sue and Reed are getting back together. Well, the new Doctor Doom, destroyed in newly formed team of the Fantastic Four men, saves the day and beat Doom for another day. This movie sounds entirely stupid, doesn't it? And you'd think all this would be solved if, people paid fucking attention to what was actually going on. Yeah, it's a very simple plot. So where did they mess up this badly? Well, they came close to getting the point of the original four. In the comics, the Four serve as a bit of a family unit as well as superheroes, and barely even superheroes at this point. It's all about how they play off of each other. Reed being a genius who's often stuck in his own head and absorbed his own project. Sue being the one to drag him out back into reality in order to deal with the family and things that are going on around him. Ben being the heart of the team, despite being such an stoning rocky exterior. And Johnny Storm being their ultimate id, who rushes in recklessly and quickly without giving much of a second thought to things. The movie does touch on this, which I will applaud it. It does come close. But I don't know if it's the writing in the script or the actor's ability that just doesn't stick the landing in terms of characterization. The majority of the movie is filled with the standard bonding for the Fantastic Four before they have their inevitable, oh, Ben dislikes being stuck into a rocky monster. Johnny is a cocky asshole who just loves enjoying his powers. Sue is very protective, and Reed can't figure out shit to save his life. Their eventual breakup stuff, and then they get back together, start to be a villain at the end, and it's just there. Oh boy. And again, it comes close to getting the heart of the four, but this doesn't stick the landing. And then there's Doctor Doom, who they are so far away from understanding. There's something that all the live action Fantastic Four movies fail to understand. It's Doctor Doom, who's quite possibly one of the greatest supervillains of all times. In the comics, Doctor Doom is this bigger than life personality who believes he's better than everyone else, and oftentimes for good reason. He thinks he's better than you because he's himself, and most of the time, he's right for that belief. Hell, several supernatural entities have shown that Doctor Doom is probably the best one to be running the planet Earth, despite everyone's protest that a guy named Dr. Victor Von Doom should be running the planet Earth. He is not. Some guy who gets jealous that his girlfriend might be leaving him for her ex and decides to try killing her ex, her brother, and their friend. Also, his powers are also very loosely defined. His skin starts turning into metal, and he's also getting electric powers, but it's never really clarified or defined at all. This is also the problem that the live action Dooms have. Very unclear defined powers. Yes, in the comics, Doom doesn't have a clearly defined power set. That's because Doctor Doom is constantly changing his power set because he's constantly evolving and changing as a person. In this case, it's just because they don't want to in order to make him feel like a threat. Overall, this movie is pretty mediocre and generally just boring. The acting is across the board what I guess Johnny Storm giving the best performance, but again, this is Chris Evans who eventually becomes Captain America, so of course he gives a pretty decent performance in this one. The effects are decent for the time, and it's certainly not unwatchable. And even the plot does come close to kind of understanding the point of Fantastic Four, but everything else just ultimately sucks. It's certainly better than the last two movies that we looked at, which one was pointless and one was just nobody cared. But I'm gonna be honest, this is still a pretty bad movie. But if you really do want to watch a bad movie, I wouldn't stop you from watching this one. And, well, let's be honest here. The other Fantastic Four movies are worse.